Welcome to the Work-Life Balance Podcast. I am Kara.
And I am Maggie.
Together, we're a power real estate team with the Maggie Partners in Nashville.
We believe that the hustle culture of today's driven entrepreneur who lives and works in Middle Tennessee requires balance.
Welcome back to today's episode of The Power of No and Setting Boundaries with Kara and Maggie and Work-Life Balance.
Okay, so basically what sparked this idea is no is a full sentence.
That it is.
You should not have to explain yourself to anybody for the reason you're saying no. You should just be able to say no and put your energy into whatever you want to put your energy into.
So it's funny when we talked about this topic, I said, oh, let's talk about the power of no, and you go, no is a full sentence, and I'm like, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's a full sentence.
Yeah.
No, period.
Nope, done. I don't even need to explain, like just
Period.
no period.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing.
No.
So how do we do that?
It's hard. That's the challenge. That's why we're talking about it, because I mean, it's hard to say no, especially if you are inexperienced, especially in our field. Like, it's a lot easier for you to say no than it is for me to say no.
I'm still learning that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I have to say no a little bit because I've got family. Well, not family, but I had the kids and the hubby and everything else. So I have to learn how to prioritize that no. But I'm not very good at just saying no.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather say yes, I'll make it work, and then something falls up short. But I'm learning.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm doing
it takes a lot to figure out what priorities are really meaningful to you and what you're willing to say no to for other things.
Right.
And was there like a certain point in your career that you can remember, or just an experience that you've had where you've just absolutely had to put your foot down and just say, okay, no more?
Multiple times, but I think a lot of that came with not so much the real estate as the agent, but as the landlord.
Okay.
Landlord, I would get calls like midnight, 1 a.m. Oh, so like the water is leaking. Okay, can it not? I mean, that could wait until the morning, right? So those were like, okay, I'm going to grab the phone call when I know it needs to be taken care of. 911 emergency, they're going to text me right away and say it. I can roll over and say, I can catch that in the morning. But those are really when I shut down I don't need to be at your beck and call 24 hours a day. Like, I have a life. I have to prioritize that. Real estate side, as far as selling homes, I'm pretty accommodating to the client.
Yeah.
Probably more than I should be at sometimes.
What do you think that is? You think like money is the driving factor? Is there more money in it that way, and just being able to go and drop everything for your client rather than like landlord side, because they're going to pay you rent whether you text them back now or in the morning?
Maybe it creates a sense of urgency, and I feel like with real estate, they expect me to be there, and if I'm not, the next agent's probably going to be there more than I was, and I don't want to lose a client over that, but I also need to make sure that my family knows that they're number one.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm not driven by the money, so no, it's not that, but it's more of the people-pleasing, making sure that the client feels like they're number one priority.
Right.
Because they think that they are. They really, truly do. Like, the world
do.
is revolving around their home buying process tenfold. Nothing else matters. And that can be very difficult.
Yeah.
So because their house is maybe one of a few that I'm working right now, that I think that those are all just as important.
Yeah.
But that's not, no. It's my time. I'm buying. I need to have full priority.
And like you said, though, if you're not there, another agent is. So it's like you kind of have to pick and choose what's worth it for you. Because if you can explain to your family, like, hey, I've really got to go do this because blah, blah. Like, I mean, we just said that no is a full sentence, but I think your family's an exception to that.
Yes, I think so.
Especially when it's your kids and they're like, well, Mom, like, we want you home. Like, we want you home for dinner. And you're like, well, sorry, I have to go, like, show 5 houses right now.
Right.
So
and they don't really understand. I mean, they do, but they don't, so there is a little explanation. But, it would be nice to just be like, no. And I think, like, for that, not only in work, but you probably see this with friends. I have a hard time, like, saying no.
Yeah.
Not that they want something from me. It's more about, like, I shouldn't go to Nashville today. Like, I shouldn't go on that next trip. Or it's always the fun stuff. Those are the things I really don't want to say no to.
Creates the FOMO
It's
that we
the
were
FOMO.
talking about. Yeah, like
Terrible.
I mean, and I've had to do that a lot. Like, this past Saturday, just for example, one of my friends invited me to go kayaking, and I was like, oh, that would be so much fun. And then we got an Op City lead, and I had to drop everything I was doing that day to go show houses.
See? And that's where you put your priorities right there.
Yeah.
You prioritized work where you could have went the other way and been like, well, today I want to have some fun. So that's where it's hard.
Yeah.
And then you feel like the whole time you're like, damn it, I should have been kayaking, but I need to make some money right now.
Exactly.
And especially with those leads.
Yeah, and like I think having the team presence too makes it more urgent, because it's like I'm not just making money for me, I'm making money for our team. And to help our success and grow business and stuff like that. So it's a little bit harder to think about, okay, well, I want to go kayaking.
I know.
When it's like, okay, well, I have somebody on the other side of this that's kind of depending on me. And like, you would be, I think that if I chose kayaking over going to show some houses, you'd be pretty upset.
I don't
just like on the real quick, on the real, like if it's you and I, like if we miss out on a huge lead because you didn't want to go show a house because you were kayaking or something, like I'd kind of be upset.
Yeah. Well, I think I would have been like, you should have called me and I would have squeezed that into my day. Then that's that balance act between you and I. Like, we have that privilege where you can call me and be like, hey, I just need a day, a self-care day. I want to go to the spa. I want to go kayak. Do you mind picking up the slack? And that's where that team building works. Yeah. Right? So, yeah, I probably wouldn't have been super happy to drive like 2 hours from here, because I think that's where you showed. It was far.
Yeah, it was far.
But I would have either figured out a way to accommodate that. But, yeah, you and I are not those kind of people where you're just going to like fluff off everything because.
No. And we've done that before too, though, is like just saying, hey, I need a day. Yeah. Because, I mean, we kind of do work 24/7, literally 7 days a week.
Right. And I think there was something I wrote on there, like, if you don't take care of yourself first, then I can't take care of anybody else, right? So I go through down days. You go through down days. That's part of this business. It's a flipping roller coaster.
Yeah, it is.
You know, you're on a high making a shit ton of money one month, and the next you're like, oh, okay, got to get something in escrow. And that is the mind trip of this game. It is 100% across the board. Every single realtor you will ever speak to will tell you I'm going to say a bad word, it's a mind fuck.
Yeah, it is.
It truly is. So it's highs and lows, and if you don't know how to stabilize that, one, you'll never survive in this business. Two, you're going to be an anxiety-ridden fruitcake like I am half the time.
I mean, but then it just gets to a point where it's so overwhelming, you kind of just don't know what to do. You don't know where to start. I think we have that on our board, too, is like focusing on what priorities actually do come first and doing things that aren't going to waste your time.
Yes.
Because, I mean, you can sit there for 2 hours checking emails, but what is that really doing?
Right.
Like, yeah, you're responding to people and you can say that you were working because you're on your computer checking emails, but you can't waste your time doing that all day long.
No, and we did that yesterday with like all of our leads and what's in our pipeline, going through and prioritizing, okay, this one's got to buy a house today. Yeah. She's flying and ready to go. Okay, let's go. Let's do that. And we're really going to put our energy on the top 5 that are ready to pull the trigger right now. Right. And then the nurturing ones, then we just they come in second. They're not as urgent.
Because they're not looking to buy today.
No, they might be 6 months. Exactly. And they're on the board, and they're being taken care of, and we keep sending them stuff. But it's very important that we prioritize and put our energy where it's going to succeed first.
Right, and kind of work for us at that point.
Right.
Because, I mean, and like we were doing today, we're going to drive to Columbia to look for houses and properties for somebody, and we're going to door knock and spend a lot of time doing that. So if that's not something that we thought was actually important, we wouldn't waste our time doing it. Right. Because we could be doing other things. Right. Which we've been actually putting this off for a while, too, because we haven't really had time to go do it. Yeah. But we were finally just like, okay, we got to get this off of our list.
Get it off the list.
Yeah. Because then it creates room to actually do other things and stop worrying. And we put on here, rush creates anxiety and a lack of control. I think that's kind of in work and life.
Oh, across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but my wheels are spinning all day long. From the moment I get up, I'm having my coffee, I'm already brainstorming what's my plan today, what am I supposed to succeed, or whatever. By the end of the night, I hit that pillow hard, and it's just, I'm wiped. Like, okay. And it's a lot of just it's a mental game, right? So,
it is.
Yeah, if you're rushing all day to try to check off everything on that list, it kind of just takes all the energy out of you.
It does.
You know, and I feel like everybody else gets kind of the short end of the stick. Mm-hmm. So trying to slow it down a little bit.
It's true.
And like figure out, okay, if it doesn't always have to be like everything has to be done today, right? So why do we put that pressure of such urgency that if we don't do it at this freaking second, it's not going to be, we won't have it done in time, or or we're slacking in some way.
Right. And like we were talking about a second ago too, it's not like we work a 9 to 5 and we get to wake up in the morning, go to work, and then at the end of the workday, it's over. You don't have to bring it home with you.
Yes.
Because we're bringing it home every day. So it's not like we have that break on the weekend to just kind of chill, get stuff done around the house. Like, we're having to balance going and meeting everybody's needs and having to clean up around the house too.
Right.
Especially as women.
That's what's funny about when we interviewed Eva, how she said, if you really do the math, I probably make $4 an hour.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Who gives a shit? That's our profession and we love it more than anything. But it is kind of funny.
That's
like,
true.
You know, everybody says it's the number one overpaid job. I mean, there are statistics and it's like,
there's truth to that, but also that the people that are saying that have never actually done it, probably. Because they would not be saying that if they did.
No, because if you waited 6 months to get a paycheck, you'd be completely bitching about it.
Yeah, you would.
We're like, it's the journey, and we're there for it.
Yeah.
I don't even look at that. And that was the other point we talked about, is why we're in this business, and it's not about chasing that paycheck. And when you stop thinking about it like that, you stop rushing it, you realize you actually have a passion for it.
Right.
And that means you don't go to work. Like, how do they say that?
It's just your life.
Yeah, like when you love what you do, you don't call it work. You
don't work every day. Yeah. You'll
mean,
never work
cool
a day in your life.
that?
That's the saying.
Yeah.
If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
How great is that?
Yeah. And that's the truth, though.
There's a reason I've been doing it for so long. And I think you have the same mind and spirit as I do. Like, you're going to be the same. You're 20 years down the road, you're going to be like, it's just what I love to do.
It's just life.
Go to work every day.
We were talking about this with Eva too, like having to balance your kids and everything like that. But people think that real estate is a cush job where you can kind of make your own schedule, but that's not true at all. You kind of have to balance everybody's schedule, and more so for, parents that are in this industry and everything, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
And I think people underestimate that a little bit.
Right.
Because we really do probably make like $4 an hour. Because like what people don't see too is, which I think we've had this problem with like clients and stuff like that, which we talked about this with Eva also, about like what we do behind the scenes that they don't see. Like, we're at home in our bed, like searching for properties, looking up stuff, writing contracts. Just because we're not right in front of you doesn't mean that we're not per se working.
Yeah. And that all goes back to the like why we're such in like full throttle mode all the time.
Yeah.
And how we have to stop and take a minute and realize that we need a moment. And that might be just putting that phone down for that little hour nap, or just not even an hour nap. Zone the hell out. I'll put 5 o'clock. I put my Fox on. That's
so funny with the news.
I had that 1 hour. Give me the 5 at 5. That's my show. I like my Jesse Waters. I like my show.
Yeah.
I get a little bit of all the bullshit that's going on in the world, and I completely zone out.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's 5 o'clock. Or no, that comes out at 4 here because it's Central Time. But then it's 5 o'clock and dinner starts.
Exactly.
And that's when my second shift turns into dinner, kids, homework, doing, mom time, because that's important that I balance that with them. And it might just be us sitting on the couch talking about nothing, or maybe not talking. We're all just being with each other, but like...
Because your kids need a second, too.
They need a second.
Yeah.
And so that's when I'm like, sorry, if you'll call me, and I'll take it. But like, if it's not a 911, I may give myself that hour and realize that it's okay.
Yeah.
Because my mind's so freaking busy from the rest of the day. I just need to kind of like, makes you a better person.
That's true. And I feel like after about 6 o'clock in the day, our communication like goes down a whole bunch, because I know that you're at home with your kids doing all the things that moms need to do. So I try not to bother you. And if something comes up, like, I'll call you and you'll answer, because it's me, not just somebody else. But also I try to be mindful of your time too.
Of that. I know. And that would be where I would use my words. Like, that's when the power of no would come in. If I felt like, hey, Mag, like, give me a minute.
Yeah.
Or I do. I'll be like, hey, I'll call you back in 10.
Yeah.
Because I'm finishing up dinner or whatever the story might be. But I don't have to give you an explanation. Like,
No.
you just realize she's going to call me back in 10 minutes. It's 6 o'clock. She's probably making spaghetti.
Literally. And you'll notice too, like, I never question that. Like, anytime you are ever like, hey, can't talk right now, or whatever it is, and you never, like, if I say that to you, or if I don't answer your phone call either, you're not texting me like, oh my God, why are you not answering?
No, God.
What are you doing right now? No.
Girlfriend, that's not how it rolls.
No. But back to kind of the rush thing, you wrote, happiest people are busy but don't feel rushed.
Yeah, I read that. I thought that was kind of cool, because I think that's when you don't, I fight anxiety, been fighting it for a long time. So I realized that, like, when I learn that I can just not feel like that panic mode, that fight, flight, freeze. Come on, psychology girl.
Yeah,
you know what
true.
all F's are. If your body's in constant fight or fleet mode, like, you're just going like
a million miles an hour.
Everything in your brain,
all
your
the time.
endorphins are going and like sparking, and you just can't slow it down. I've learned that does not do me any good.
Right.
And I'm not about to twirl into a panic mode because I can't get a freaking house sold today. Like, sorry, my mental health is super more important than
that. It is. And it's just kind of crazy because we are messing with people's lives. Like, this is one of the biggest purchases you'll make in your life is a home. So you want us to kind of be in a rush, and we are put urgency on people sometimes just because of the fact that, okay, that house might not be here tomorrow. And I mean, we've just seen that over the past 6 months, which maybe that kind of created more of a habit of rushing people a little bit and creating that urgency. But that's just because, like, you never know. And if it's the house that they want, it's the house they want, and let's get it done.
Well, we just lost one 2 days ago because there was no urgency on the buyer's side. And I think they're seeing the market as, okay, there's a little room now. We're seeing the reductions. We're seeing just a little bit of a leveling out. She didn't have an urgency, and she sure as hell was not happy when we had to call her and tell her that the thing was pending. Yeah. So, it was only on the market 5 days, which in today's world, that's a lifetime.
Yeah, it is.
24 hours is what we were seeing for the last few months. So, the urgency's kind of back in that sense, which makes us go back on, again, full throttle and having to be there and getting it done quickly.
Especially in, like, the more growing areas, too. Yeah, Nashville slowed down a lot just because people know now that, okay, the prices are super high. You can live somewhere out of town, still do the same things, and still go if you need to.
Right.
So, like, Columbia, Murfreesboro, even, like, Mount Juliet, places like that, stuff is still not sitting on the market for a long time. Unless, one, there's something wrong with the house. Yeah. Or two, it's just a big farmland that's not, like, as big of a market to hit.
Because you think it's because they're more reasonable still?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. For sure.
Because people can still afford those markets. Nashville and Franklin is such a tough neighborhood, or tough town to be in.
Yeah, it is.
It's expensive. And there's still super competition in those markets, right? So, when they step out of it a little bit, maybe we have a little bit of room of not racing to the offer, but I'm always the person that's get the offer in. Yeah. The more you dilly-dally, the more you have counter-offer situations, multiple counter-offer situations, or they just don't respond to you because they've already got a better offer. So get that shit in, and then they can figure it out. Right. But, that's where my done yesterday mentality comes, and I apologize if I ever rub that off on you, but I am at 100% that, which is back to the rushing thing.
But that's how you're successful, though, because you just get shit done.
Yeah, I get shit done, but it's not always the healthiest mentally for me.
Mentally, but
I get that shit done. No, I will get your house sold, and I will get you an offer accepted. I might take a Xanax in the middle of it all.
Yeah, but that's that puts pressure on sellers agents too, though, just because the fact that, like, Saturday, for example, if we would have gotten our offer in, we had a pretty good offer. I mean, it was over asking because we really wanted it. And they were paying title expenses, like the whole thing. And then we didn't get it in time, and he got another offer and went out asking. So, like, if he would have waited too, just because I told him it was coming, I was like, the offer will be in your hand tomorrow. The offer he had didn't expire until the next day. So, really, he kind of did his sellers a disservice just a little bit because, I mean, he could have gotten them more money, etc. But also, that's not guaranteed.
Have you ever heard that saying, a bird in the hand worth two in the bush?
No, I've never heard that. What does that mean?
So old.
No, what does that mean? I want to know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so a bird in the hand means you already have an offer in your hand, right?
Right.
We're two in the bush that they may not come to you, right? So Are you going to take the one that you already have? Or are you going to wait for the two that you're thinking you're going to get? So, like, my dad, he always taught me that. Like, okay, Kara,
Dad's in their advice.
Oh, my God. And they're old school. Like, you're like, what does that even mean? What was the other thing I told you? Shit or get off the pot?
Yeah, shit or get off the pot.
What is that?
Yeah, that was so funny. I use it all the time now, but continue, sorry.
So that's what that means. Like, bird in the hand. Like, that, and that might be how he was approaching it. Mm-hmm. So, like, on the flip side, as an investor or whatever, when my hat is on for that, and maybe I'm flipping a house and I've got an offer in my hand. Mm-hmm. Am I going to wait, even though that offer is at ask, it's good terms, we can close quickly. It's checking the boxes.
Right.
Is it worth waiting and that person going, like, I might bail just because I assume that maybe I'm going to get a couple more offers, or do I just take that offer?
Exactly.
So
it's hard.
It's a hard call. I typically will take the offer. I'm not into playing games and all that. So unless there's on a lot of the offers, there's a time,
right.
Well, in this crazy market, we're not looking at offers until Saturday at 8 p.m.
Yeah, and then doing all of them at once.
And then they're doing like 20 offers at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a crazy way of doing it. But unless it's that situation, typically respond to the offer.
Yeah.
I mean, you should show the buyer that much respect. Right?
Yeah.
Like, they gave you a solid offer. It's what you wanted. Why wouldn't you accept that offer?
Right. So here's a scenario for you. I want to see what you would do. Okay.
Right, let's do it.
So if you have a house that you just put on the market for a good price, reasonable, people are going to want to see it. So it's one day on the market. You have 3 showings in one day. And then you have one person put in an offer, and the other 2 say that they're thinking about it. They'll let you know by the end of the night. Are you going to let them have until the end of the night because the offer that you already have doesn't expire until tomorrow, and then weigh all of your options? Or are you going to take that first offer?
I'm going to wait.
Okay.
So that almost contradicts what I just said, because in that situation, you have an offer that's expiring in 3 days or whatever their expiration is. You should go to your seller, and you should have a conversation about that. Hey, you've got a bird in the hand.
Right.
You got your offer. They're meeting your terms. We have 3 showings that maybe we're going to have this evening.
Yeah.
How do you feel about giving them 24 hours? And you could go back and be on the proactive side, and to those agents be like, we have a full price offer in hand. I'm always about transparency. I know you don't need to go, you're not really supposed to share unless your seller tells you what the offer amount is. But you can say we have an asking price. At asking offer.
There you go.
Yeah, at asking offer, we're going to give you 24 hours. But that means you got to step up to the game at that point. Like, you're either coming over, or you're coming in better terms, maybe cash.
Or you walk away.
Or they walk away and don't waste anybody's time.
Yeah.
So, yes, in that scenario, I would be transparent with the agents that we have one in hand, but I would probably advise my seller to wait the 24 hours or whatever it might be. Because then now you create like an urgency thing, and you create a multiple counter thing. So they're going to end up probably getting more than ask at that point.
Yeah, and
which benefits your seller.
It's a little stressful for the agent side, but it's good for your sellers overall. And if you need to go through a little bit of stress to be able to get them the max amount of money that you can get them, I think you should do that.
Yeah.
For sure, every time.
Because you work for them, right?
Exactly.
So, like, we have to put our time and energy aside.
Exactly.
What do you want to do? At the end of the day, you're cashing the check.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah.
So something else I want to ask you about too, like, we were seeing offer deadlines a lot over like the past 6 months, which they're kind of falling off now. I haven't really seen that anymore at all. But do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Because I think that's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because it creates urgency, yes, which you want and you kind of need when you're trying to sell, but also that creates fear.
It creates a lot of fear, and it creates a bidding war. Mm-hmm. And when you are in a bidding war, your seller or your buyers are in a very bad position. So I haven't seen really any of those anymore.
I haven't
either. And if they are, that's what's cracking me up. If you are seeing them, you're already seeing that the deadline's already passed, and you go, oh, that agent needs to take that off the private ring mark because you look foolish.
Yeah.
Because that thing didn't close as fast or get your offers in as fast. So, yeah, I'm with you. Double-edged sword. On a seller's side, sure, bring it on.
Also,
but on the buyer's side, not so much.
I feel like, though, that kind of creates a shithole for your seller too, though, because then you could get into a bidding war, which you kind of see sometimes is where, like, you'll get into the bidding war and then both your buyers drop out because they're like, okay, well, this is too stressful and this is too much for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to submit an offer and it either get accepted or declined, not have two people going back and forth saying, okay, well, now they're at 587. You need to counter back, either come back more or less, because then you can lose both, and that's not what you want.
Both. And I had a lot of buyers that whenever that was on the private remarks, we didn't even look at it.
Yeah.
That was completely, nope, I don't even want to deal with that. And I didn't blame them.
I can't blame them either.
I don't want to get in a bidding war. Then you're already paying overprice. Now, we've already talked about that, but now you're already in the
loss
toilet.
of the equity. Yeah.
So what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, there is no point.
I'm glad that market's done. I truly am glad that market's done. And
too.
what we're now, this is funny, now that we're seeing the opposite. If you close this house by the 30th of
You'll
the
get
month,
a bonus.
you're getting an agent bonus. What? I mean, that's almost a complete opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. And to kind of circle back to like the setting boundaries thing, I mean, you need to kind of like take it into consideration when you do see deadlines and everything like that. Is it really worth the time, stress, and to rush? Because sometimes it may not be the house for you, and you still rush into it, lose equity, whatever the case may be, and that can be you just saying, okay, no, I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
Because there could be something better.
Well, and that was that specific time when that urgency was so strong here.
Right.
That, I mean, I had buyers that just bought houses just to get into the market. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We bought this house just to get into the market.
Yeah.
It wasn't my ideal situation.
Yeah.
Or my ideal home, and we paid over asking. But we're not renting because rentals in Franklin are out of this world. And as we saw with a friend of ours that's trying to get a rental, there are none. There are no rentals. So investors, it is the perfect space and time to buy a rental here in Franklin or the Middle Tennessee area.
Because it's going to rent.
They're going to rent and they're going to get outrageous prices. So not that I like to talk money, but I'll be very honest. When we moved here, I had to spend, or my husband and I, it was $4,500 a month for our rental.
Oh my God. How long did y'all stay in it?
3 months. I said, screw that. I'm buying. I'm not spending $4,500 on anybody's
way too much
mortgage payment.
Hell
that
no.
is like the opposite of what I've ever preached or thought. So,
because you know their mortgage did not cost that much. They were probably making a shitload of money off of you.
They were making a shit ton.
Yeah.
It was paid. They already owned it. Like, there was no mortgage payment. But because there was no options, like, so I had to find an Airbnb that was going to be. I know the sun's coming right there.
Yeah.
I had to find an Airbnb that was month to month because I knew I was not locking into a year.
Yeah.
Because the ultimate goal was to get here and find something, but in order to do that, we had to spend a shit ton in rent.
That's true.
So it was like, get out of that, get into the market, pay what we need to do. Maybe it's not the ideal house. We'll make it our ideal house. Yeah. And that was our route.
See, I wasn't even aware that you didn't. I thought that you bought as soon as you got here. Like, you bought something before you came out here. I didn't even know that you rented.
We bought the Airbnb in Nashville.
And then how did you...
That was before we moved here.
Obviously, like, you're a realtor, so that's how you found this place. But...
No, I had a realtor here because I didn't have my license here yet.
Okay, so you were working on it at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as soon as we got here, I took the test.
So you said that this house that you're in, which, by the way, her house is beautiful. Look at the view.
So sweet.
But
thank you.
I mean, you said that, like, the subfloor was damaged. Like, there was so much shit wrong with it, and you and John just, like, gutted it and cleaned it up. Were you doing that while you were renting, or did you just move in?
No, we stayed at the rental. And
okay.
Because this house, like, they had animals and, like, pee.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
So you're like, rip that shit up.
That's one thing. I will never move in on somebody else's flooring.
No.
Hardwood floor, yes, but no carpet or anything like that. So, no, we did a whole overhaul on the house, and then obviously we're still doing stuff on it as we live in it. But I wasn't moving in until it was, clean enough for us and the kids.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you're, like you said, you're still working on it. Literally, I don't know if you can see, but they have an excavator in the background over here. And, like, the whole stone wall is ripped up, too. So
yeah, it's coming down.
Y'all are still working on it.
Oh, yeah. Everything's being redone in the backyard.
That's kind of like, too, going back to setting boundaries, prioritizing, like, family and everything. How do you manage working on your own house plus working on other houses? Because John has tons of projects and you guys are investing and wanting to flip houses and all kinds of stuff. So how do you manage that?
I don't even know how to answer that.
I don't even know.
You know what? I am in a I don't know how to explain that because I'm so in it, and I have been for so many years that that's just the way my life is. That at the end of the day, I'm like, holy crap, I accomplished all of that, or you know what, I didn't show today.
Nothing got done today.
Yeah, but I think it's just the way it is. Like John is busy all day, I'm busy all day, and then we maybe get like 10 minutes to kind of regroup about business stuff, and then I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like let's put all that aside and like have family time. But I think it's just the way our lives have always been.
And y'all are really good at that, though. I mean, when your kids are here and present, you guys are present with them. Like, I have never been over here and seen your family here that you haven't been hanging out with them.
Yeah.
Even when Eva was here and we were coming over to record the podcast just, like, early in the morning before y'all went and did whatever, like, Chase was sitting here, Hudson was sitting here, and, like, everybody was together. Y'all just made breakfast and ate with each other.
Yeah.
So I think y'all have figured out a way to do that, but I guess it's just because y'all been together for so long.
We have like I think moving to across country, and it's just, you are all you have. You know, we didn't bring any family or friends here with us. So our little core got very tight. Yeah. You know, we're very close. And which is, I love, you know, Mason's going to go to college next year, and it's like, I'm going with him. Yeah. I'm going too. Kara's going to buy a house. I'm going with him. She's leaving Tennessee again. We'll be going down there and buying something. Like, that's kind of my thing. Like, wherever the kids choose, I want an investment property in that town. So as of right now, you know, we'll just see how that goes and which one he chooses. But yeah, I mean, we're just tight, and that is setting the boundaries, which is what we need to talk about, because I feel like at the end of the day, those kids are only here for so long, like, and then they're on their own and they've got their own families, and I have not always been 100% present. I mean, I started off like as a stay-at-home mom. That didn't work out so well for me. I need adult interaction. Yeah. Like, what do you mean it didn't work out well for you? Were you just like depressed down about it? Like, what do you mean by that? It was fun, but this isn't my destiny. That's just not me. I need stimulation. Yeah. Mental stimulation. And hanging out with a 2-year-old talking about cars is fun and cute, but it's not enough for me to do full time. Yeah. So I think when Mason was, he was about, well, I mean, I was working from home through it all, but like, I think it was when he was about 2 or 3, I got him finally into preschool. Yeah. Actually, it was 2 years, 8 months, because that's when they could take him. And then it was like, bam, I'm going back to an office. Like, I need to be out of the house. And then here comes Chase not too long after, and Huddy. So that was just, they would be dragged with me to the office, but I had to have something besides playing with the kids all day long. But I think that's good for them too, though. I mean, we talked about this with Eva, and I mean, there is something to be said about going to the office, because it kind of gives you that separation, but it's also a really good thing to have your kids see that you're working, and have your kids see that you can do it all. You can work, you can be a mom. Oh my gosh, I think it's the best thing. And that also sets really good expectations for them in the future, because, I mean, they need to, and like, they're probably going to look for a woman that's going to be hardworking and want to go out and make their own money, because that's what they've seen you do, and that's their role, or their model. I think so. I mean, I hope so. I hope I'm their role model when it comes to what a female should be. But it comes in all different forms. Like, you can be a beautiful stay-at-home mom, and that can be your passion, and you're super involved in PTA and all the other stuff at schools. I'm not that mom. I'm not on the PTA. That's just not my jam. Yeah. I'm involved with the schools where I need to be, but I'm not the over-involved parent when it comes to that stuff at all. You just don't have time. I don't have time. No. And I guess if I wanted to prioritize my time a little differently, I could make that time and put work as not as much of a priority, but maybe that's just that's in the blood for me. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but I choose the work over the PTA. Yeah. Did you have, like, more freedom? I mean, probably not more freedom when you were in California, but you had your whole village there. You had your family. You had all your friends that were able to help with your kids. Yeah. So did that help you have more time to do, either more work or be involved in all that? Yeah, because I had my mom. I mean, she'll be here actually next week, and then that will Karen. Hi, Karen. And that'll give me like a little bit of freedom here as well, because I can, hey, honey, you want to go for an overnight? Like, because we need to make that time as well, right? That's super important, have those boundaries as far as like hubby and wife time.
Yeah.
And I feel guilty doing that with the kids here, and they don't have like a grandparent or somebody to be here.
Yeah.
But back in California, I had my whole village, John's whole family, my whole family, and a huge group of friends. And so we just took care of each other.
Yeah.
Which is fine and great and amazing. But coming here, it's a little different. So we are our own village, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Thankfully, my kids are older now that they don't need so much. They don't need so much.
Mm-hmm.
They're on their own a lot, with sports, and they drive and whatever else. So it's okay.
Yeah.
But it just changes the dynamics of where my time can be spent.
Have you seen like a decline, not necessarily decline in yours and John's relationship, but just kind of the stuff that y'all have been able to do together since you moved here? Do y'all make time for that?
You mean not doing as much?
Yeah, like going out to drink and stuff like that, and stuff like your time. You're hanging out.
We do that. We make sure that happens. But that goes with that FOMO thing we talked about earlier. Every weekend, like, our friends are doing something. Mm-hmm. And I have a hard time, even though it's like, honey, we should do date night. But so-and-so's having everybody over. And it's like, well, what do you want to do? Well, I kind of want to go, and then you get to your friend's house, and the guys are playing cornhole, and the girls are all bullshitting in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there goes date night. Okay, and then we're driving home together. Well, did you have a fun time? Well, I had a fun time.
I had a good time.
Didn't chat. We didn't have a hard time. So, that is something that I'm going to make more of a priority this year. Is we used to always do a big trip every year, John and I.
Just the two of you?
Yeah. Okay. Usually, Cabo would be our group of friends, but we would always do something. We'd go to Monterey or Santa Cruz, or we'd just do something. Mm-hmm. If it was just a long weekend or whatever. And because we're out here and we don't have that leaving the kids thing I was saying.
Yeah.
That I have to get back on the books. We have got to have unplug weekends. Because I think he needs it too. Everybody's going in multiple directions,
That's true.
and we're all trying to grab at straws right now. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just important to just.
Yeah. I'm kind of seeing that in my life now too, because Reed started his job.
Right.
And he's, 7 to 5 every day.
So how's that feel?
Different.
Yeah.
We went from being with each other every single second of every day to now we see each other at night before we go to bed and a little bit on the weekends. Mm-hmm. And that's this weekend whenever I got that call and needed to leave, he was like, don't go. I was like, I have to. I have no choice. And that's just something you kind of have to deal with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I wonder if it's been hard on John too, because I'm sure you've always had to be like, okay, I got to go do this. But he's like that too. So
yeah, we're exactly the same. Mm-hmm. So there's really no guilt in that. It's just that we're both self-employed.
Yeah.
That's the route.
Entrepreneur life.
That's it. You just you don't need to apologize for it. You just don't even need to explain it. Mm-hmm. Or it's more like you just saw, where are you going? Check my jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just the way it goes. And I don't know when he'll be back.
Yeah.
I know he's flying to California tomorrow, but that's all I know.
What's he go back to California for? Just
his jobs.
Keep connections and go check everything out?
He's got those jobs going right now, so he's got to go check. He's got 2 big builds in Napa.
Is he letting you sell them, or are they custom builds?
They're specs, but I'm going to hopefully have a little bit of influence on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Unless they sell them prior to them going on the market.
Yeah.
But they're, oh my God.
I've seen the pictures on Instagram. They're really pretty.
Yeah. In fact, one of those I've told you we're thinking of, we haven't committed yet, but that lot that we bought over here, or we're buying, I think I'm going to build that same house on it. It's just spectacular.
That could be so cool.
Yeah.
That would be badass.
And then we can sell it here.
But I guess that going back to the power of no and setting boundaries, I just think that's really important in our business and just things that we're doing. And it might be easier said than done because you're always going to have things going on.
Yeah.
But at least trying to do that, I think will give you a better work-life balance.
Yeah. Well, that's all. That's the goal, is just to try to figure out some sort of balance, because we're never going to stop working.
Yeah.
We don't have that mind frame of stopping. And we just need to be able to balance a little fun in the middle of it all. So you can go kayaking. You can go out with your girlfriends and not feel like you're going to miss anything.
Yeah.
Because you can go kayaking for 2-3 hours. It's not like a 12-hour day, right? And just schedule that appointment around it.
That's true.
So you can do both.
And a lot of times, especially in our job, you can go out for drinks and still be working because you can be networking and meeting people. And the thing, we met at a bar. And
you meet a lot of people at bars, Maggie.
Yeah, you meet a lot of people at bars, but you've met clients at bars, You've met people that you want to sell houses to at bars.
Absolutely.
Buy houses from you at bars. And not only that, I mean, just getting out there and getting time for yourself, too. Being able to have a drink while you're doing it.
I think a bar is almost like, they always say go to the golf course, you make all your connections.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the same. Be at a bar, be at a golf course. I mean, as long as you're networking. Mm-hmm. I mean, although you just realized that we used to wear name tags back in the day.
Yeah.
Which I'm so buying you one because I know that you'll walk around with that thing.
That is too funny. But what would we even put on it?
You put
Maggie Lashley, realtor?
Yeah, that's exactly what we used to wear.
All the time.
Honey, I'm pulling out an old picture so you can see it.
Yeah, I want to see.
Cara Bajetti, PMC Real Estate. I'm telling you, it was a little magnet like this.
Yeah.
Everybody wore it. In fact, it was almost mandatory, especially if you're in open houses.
Really?
When you went through their training, it was name tag, your flyers, your sign-in sheet. All of that was like,
okay.
Yeah, but you wear that name tag because we just spoke about this, but it goes back to, if you didn't tell me who you were, I would have no clue.
Exactly.
Right? So the only reason I know that you were a psychology major, because we struck up a conversation when you were waitressing. And then it flowed into, I want to be a real estate agent. Yeah. Well, hell, if we never had that conversation, you were just making me a vodka soda. Yeah. We would have never got to this level that we're at now.
No. And that's the whole point.
I know.
That's the whole point. And I think that goes back to like creating your presence on social media too, because if you're not in front of somebody telling them who you are and what you do almost every day, right, then they're going to forget about you.
Yes.
I mean, the world doesn't revolve around us. Right. Even though we think it does. Even though we think it does. But that's true, though. Not everybody's world revolves around you, and that just keeps going back to the power of no, and no being a full sentence. Like, you don't have to explain yourself to people because you have shit going on, too, but so do they. Yep. So if they tell you no, you can't sit there and question it if you don't want them to question you.
Which happens all the time. If they say, no, I can't see the property today, and you want to say, well, why? You really want to put an offer on it? Yeah. Well, they may have to go to the doctor, or they have a child that's sick from school, or whatever. Nobody needs to explain it, although we always feel like we do. Yeah. And I think that is where we have to figure it out. Yeah. Very true. I can just say no. No. I might even say fuck no.
For real, though.
I might. I mean, like.
Especially if they've been running you around.
Yeah. Like, I'm exhausted. I mean, I have no problem saying no to my kids. Yeah. I say no to them all the time.
Which you're so funny with your kids. You're like the most chill but also stern mom I've ever seen. Because the kids will be running around doing whatever, then 1 second you're like, okay, fucking stop. Like,
I've had enough.
I've had enough.
Like, my blood is boiling. Yeah.
You just get pushed to that like breaking point where you're like, okay, no more. Sorry.
No more. But I'll say it with a smile.
Yeah.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Chill the fuck out. That's funny though.
But so, yeah, I mean, I love this subject because I feel like it's one that we're constantly going to be learning, and I don't know if you'll ever conquer it. Yeah. Because we always feel obligated.
And I think the level of boundaries that you have to set with everybody is different. Yeah. I mean, like you said, your family, that level is not going to be the same as clients. It's not going to be the same as your coworker or your business partner. Yeah. I mean, there's different levels to that, and that's for you to decide, really. Right. So I guess we should give them some tips on how to actually go about it. I think one being figure out what priorities are most important to you. Yep. So making a list of like what you think is most important, because family to some people is not more important than work.
That is true. So, yeah, I mean, that's a tough one to swallow because that should be your priority. But yeah, not everybody has that. So yeah, for us, when we do our meetings, we prioritize what needs to happen. And we slowly just check them off. And I think that's a good way to start. That's really the way that I do it. I mean, I don't have an answer to that because that's a tough one. It's just, you're just trying to figure out how to make everybody happy, but ultimately yourself. And if you aren't, then how can I really be 100% on everything else I'm doing? Right. So it would be almost the best if you put yourself on priority number one.
That's true.
And you did something every day that made you feel that you were accomplished just in your own, and just in your mind, body, spirit.
And that looks different for everybody too.
Right. For me, it's working out. And I know for you it is too. Like, we both wake up and that's how we start our day. And it just kind of creates that mental clarity. I don't know if this happens to you, but like when I get off my bike, I have a solution to something that I got on there confused about.
It's true.
And it'll just come to me at the weirdest time in that ride. But I typically, like, if I have an issue, like, with a client, or I need to explain to you, like, Op City this morning, need to brainstorm, how do I want to get through that subject? The mental clarity, because I feel like you're so zoned out in that workout, and your endorphins are going, and your dopamine, your serotonin, all the good stuff in your brain's working at, like, full throttle, you can get a lot of shit done personally. Can. So I feel like, why don't we prioritize ourselves first? Whatever we need to do that day, let's start there. And then from there, okay, Susie needs a house today, so I need to schedule showings for her. Billy needs a house tomorrow. Then we can kind of prioritize in that sense. But yeah, I would say start with yourself first.
Start with yourself first. That's true. I mean, and a lot of people don't do that, and that's how you see the detrimental effects happening. Because, I mean, if you're mentally not present, then that's not going to do anything but make you start forgetting things, leaving stuff out, like, and then that kind of just, it's a trickle-down effect, butterfly effect to everything in your world, which yours, yes, working out, but I mean, and mine too, but I can tell such a difference on the days that I have, like, giving myself grace and, like, giving myself the time that I need to kind of just get my shit together versus the days that I don't. And, like, even today, like, I woke up this morning kind of in a rush, and I came over here with everything together. And it took me, like, 45 minutes to get my shit together and figure everything out because I just wasn't on it.
So what was it that started your day wrong? Did you wake up just feeling like you woke up late and, like, you were just, right?
Yeah,
is that what
just
it was?
kind of... okay, so I'll just kind of lay it out there. Reed woke up for work, and he has, like, some big presentation, so he was, like, up, ready to go at it, and he walked out the door, and I, like, went downstairs, told him bye, let the dog out, and I went back to sleep. And so if I would have, like, stayed up and done the things I needed to do, sit, drink my coffee, like, pray, manifest, whatever the hell you want to call it, like, I probably would have had, like, a way more clearer morning and had my head more clear than it was because I went back to sleep, woke up 30 minutes later, like, oh, shit, okay, I got to get ready, blah, blah. I was on the phone with my friend Sam, just, like, talking, whatever, lost track of time. Yeah.
So what is that? What do we write there? Rush creates anxiety and lack of control.
That's true.
That was a great quote that we pulled out of The Power of No Step. And so that right there that's a prime example of it right there. You lost control because your morning didn't start off how it usually does.
That's true.
And you're a routine person. You like to get up, have your coffee, manifest, pray, work out, do your thing, and it just threw you for a loop.
Threw me for a loop.
But that's okay, because then what do we do to change it?
Get your shit together.
Get
your shit together. Make a to-do list. Make a to-do list. Write everything down. Which, I'm bad about this. I need to start doing it at night rather than the morning, because whenever I'm laying in bed at night thinking about what my day is going to look like the next day, that's way easier for me to, like, write down everything really quick so I don't forget it the next day, because you sleep and forget everything that happened to your mom before you fell asleep. Really? At least I do.
God, I feel like I make my to-do list while I'm sleeping.
No.
Because I wake up going,
not me.
No, opposite?
Not me.
Okay, I don't know.
I'll be sitting there, like, right before I fall asleep thinking of all this shit I have to do tomorrow, and then I'll wake up in the morning and be like, okay, what do I need to do today?
So then that's a good idea, to start your list at night.
Hey, that may be a solution for some people out there.
Hey, that's a solution for you. I mean, mine is definitely drinking the coffee, and then I start going. And then, you know, I just need a little caffeine, though.
Just need a little caffeine.
Don't ask me a question prior to that drink of coffee. No. I had a shirt that said, I had a tank top that said, but first, coffee.
Oh,
Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the most amazing morning person. I'm not a total crazy person, but I got to have, like, a little caffeine.
That's true.
To get my mind, like, going, and then I take it from there.
Yeah.
But it's not, I'm not the best part of that.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is no is a full sentence. You don't have to explain shit to anybody. You do your own thing. You make your own decisions. It's essentially your life. You're going to do whatever you want with it. So set boundaries, say no, do the things you need to do to get your mind right, and then success will come, and then money will follow.
I love that. Oh my God, I love that saying.
But I like that, though, because if you're doing things, which I talked to my friend about this yesterday because she's, like, going through, like, a career change a little bit, too. And I just told her, I was like, you need to do what makes you happy, because if you're doing something that makes you happy and you truly do, like doing that every day, then the money will come along, too.
I love it.
It'll eventually, like, make itself a career.
Yeah. I don't know if I shared this with you, but my son has, like, a goal sheet next to his bathroom sink. And I was nosy, and they're cleaning up, and I just read it. And, I mean, it was awesome stuff. But, I want to be 4.0. I want to be a regional golfer, whatever, all these, like, things. And he had a quote on there. I don't know if you heard Eva and I talking about it, because we were trying to figure out what the last word of the sentence said. But it was, if you want to buy things without looking at the price tag, then you need to work without looking at the clock.
Okay,
Legit.
Mason, come on.
I know, right? And I was like, holy cow.
Did he come up with that, I wonder?
Chills. So, even when she was here, we asked him, we're like, where did you get that quote?
Yeah.
He pulled it up on a guy he follows on TikTok, one of this inspirational quote guy. I don't know. And I was so impressed by it. I was like, Mason. And he goes, well, it makes so much sense. I'm like, it damn right does.
Yeah.
Like, we're all stuck by the clock. Like, how much time can we get, whatever, what can we get done in a day? But if you want to not look at the price tag, stop looking at the clock. Stop working for the dollar is basically what that means.
Yeah,
right?
Essentially. And especially in our business too, like, that's why everybody has such like a stigma of getting into real estate, because it is hard to get your business off the ground. I mean, yeah, you can pay for leads, but leads aren't always guaranteed, especially not good ones. So it takes time to tell everybody that you're in real estate. It takes time to let people get ready to actually buy a house, because it's a big purchase. So, I mean, it's not always going to come like right out the gate like that. So you have to be patient with it. And that's why we do see like a lot of realtors fall off in the very beginning, because it's not easy. You have to go out and door knock. You have to go out and put yourself out there, and that's not what everybody wants to do.
No.
So after they get they get their first few deals, and then it kind of starts slowing down, they just stop doing it.
Yes, and I think you cannot ever compare yourself.
Yeah. Which I'm bad about doing that too.
I know, and so am I. But like, you need to have goals, and you need to have people that you look up to and those aspirations, and we've spoke about this, but and that's where you need to know that you're going to be. But at the moment, you cannot look at these established agents that have 1 million listings and they're doing all this and compare yourself to that, because that is not healthy.
That's true. And we do see a lot in our business too. Like, you'll have one, like you said earlier, you'll have one really, really, really good month, make a ton of money, and then the next month you won't make any money at all.
Right.
So it's like you, one, have to be conscious about your money, because you have to budget and be like, okay, yeah, I did make $30,000 this month, but I could make $0 next month.
Yeah.
So I can't just go out and buy a new Louis bag and a new car and pay off everything I need to pay off. Like, can't just do that. You have to budget it out.
You have to weather the storm too. So it's like, yeah, if you made all that money, that's great, but you got to let that float you for a few months. Plus, you got to pay Uncle Sam a good percent of that as well.
True.
So, I mean, yeah, it's not. You just got to be very, very careful.
I think it's more important too to compete with yourself rather than to compete with other people.
Love it.
Because, I mean, yeah, you could have a really good month, but that was you doing it. And you did it once, you can do it again.
100%, and you do it 10 times over.
But I think in our business too, it's more important, which you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think it's more important to set long-term goals in our business rather than short-term, because you really never know what's going to happen. But like, if you set something for the whole year, that gives you like a little cushion of protection, like, okay, I can still get that done, rather than making goals for the month, because you may not hit that and then it's going to make you feel discouraged. But if you set it for the year, then you're like, okay, I still have time to do the things I need to do.
So you're talking like long term, like 2-5 years, like 2-3 year, 5 years?
And when I mean that, I just mean like 6 months versus like a year.
Yeah.
But also long term too, because like I was going to say a minute ago, like, it takes time to build our business. Like, people say it takes 3 to 5 years to create referral business as a realtor.
I would probably agree with that.
And that's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time, and it's a lot of energy, and it's a lot of waiting. I mean, and eventually that's what you want. You want the referral business. You don't want to have to pay for leads. You want that just to start to flow like that.
Yeah.
And it will. I mean, that's the nature of the game, especially if you do a good job.
Exactly.
So you just keep doing you, competing against you, and the rest will follow.
And every time you hear somebody talking about wanting to buy a house or anything, like, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Literally just go. You cannot be afraid to go up and talk to people if this is what you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a big difference when you're making this your career versus you're wanting to do it part-time to just sell to your family.
Those people, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It's too hard. You're never going to be able to juggle both. And if you are, something falls short. And typically it's the real estate side, because that's not a consistent income.
Right.
So those people that have and I would say probably a good percentage of the realtors are part-timers. But the consistent income that they're getting, that's what provides for them. And then, oh, boom, mom's selling her house. Okay, cool. I just got a fat commission check. Then back to ground zero.
Yeah.
Work your day in, day out job. Oh, Aunt Sue's going to buy a house. So it's never consistent.
Right.
It's kind of like goes back to when you started and you said, what do you think about me working at Legends?
Yeah.
I said, well, I will not make that decision for you.
Yeah.
Because it is an income, consistent income. But you were lasted, how long did you last?
I mean, I may have worked there like 2 weeks. And I've never done that. Let me just point that out there. I've had 3 jobs other than real estate my whole life. Okay? And they were all serving jobs in high school. And I had every single one of them for a long time. First job, I worked at a brick oven place in Manchester when it first opened. So cute. I absolutely adored the owners. I would have worked there forever. But then it shut down, so I got another job. I worked at O'Charlie's. So I worked my first job for 2 years, my second job until I went to college because I had to leave. And then the job that I got when I first got to college, I stayed there the entire 4 years.
Wow.
So for me to go to Legends, and which I guess that's setting boundaries for myself too, and finally just being like, okay, I need to say no to something because something else is going to fall short. I got there. I didn't really like it that much, but more so than that, like, I was missing calls when I was there, and I had FOMO. Like, I was so afraid to miss out on the real estate side of stuff. I was like, okay, I can't do this. I need to pick one.
Yeah.
Because that month we did make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, this is what I need to do, and if I'm going to do it good, I need to just focus on it.
And I think you had, like, crazy days. You were working the days that real estate really is happening, which is Saturdays.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
The weekends when people really want to see properties. So I secretively am so happy.
Yeah.
I was never going to tell you that. That was something for sure you needed to make on your own. But I think you did set some boundaries. You weren't happy there. You knew that real estate was going to be your full profession, and you chose the right path.
And that's just different, too, because if I was just wanting to do it part-time on the side, like, yeah, I could have kept Legends, but what's the point? Like, this, if I want to make this my career, I need to just go full out into it. 100%. And that's what we did.
And that's what you did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think it was the best decision for me. But also, I realized, like, when I got there, everybody was telling me, well, that's just how it is here. That's just how it is here. No, the fuck it is not. Like, absolutely not. I'm not going to be treated like, okay, and it's not even like I was mistreated there. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. Like, I just want to work in an environment and work around people that, 1, are excited to see you when you walk in every day. 2, appreciate the value that you're bringing to the workplace. And 3, just have a freaking smile on your face. Like, it is not hard to welcome people when they come in the door.
Yeah.
It's really not. And, like, I know you were a member there for a while, but, I mean, just none of the people were really nice.
I'm not a member there anymore, and it's not just the golfing. It's just
very cliquish, and I don't like that.
It's a little stuffy. But I don't want bad talk.
Yeah, no, not gonna golf course. It's beautiful, but
yeah. That's we should probably wrap this up soon, but I think that's one other thing too is, you don't need to bring your negative energy into a place of work. Like, everybody's got shit going on, right? We all have drama and everything. And when I owned the bar, we had servers that would come in, and because they had a fight with their girlfriend that day or whatever the story was, oh my God, the whole energy of the bar would stop.
Leave your shit at the door.
Leave your shit at the door. And I had to tell them that. I literally, in those words, leave your shit at the door. Nobody cares.
No.
I hate to say that, but
it's
your
the
clients
truth.
don't give a shit if you had a fight with your husband before you showed him a house.
No.
They really don't care. They don't care if your kids left their backpack at home and you had to drive them to school and you're all stressed out about it. You have got to walk into that meeting as if your life is freaking rainbows and butterflies and make them feel good, because the last thing, and I promise with you, if I'm having a shitty day, I will let you know up front, but you'll never get the brunt of it. The last thing you want is for that mood to affect
other people.
And
your business.
Because it will.
Yeah.
It speaks so loud.
It does. And especially, like, 1, in real estate, but 2, in the bar scene, because nobody is going to, like you said, care, but 2, all they're going to see is you down and, like, discouraged, and 1, discouraging to them,
right?
Because they don't see a smile on your face. They don't know you from Adam. Like,
Correct.
They don't give a fuck about what's happening in your daily life. Yeah, you could have a parent that's really sick and you're sad, but all they see is the frown on your face And ultimately, that's going to affect your business and your money.
Yeah. So leave your shit at home.
Yeah.
And goes back to self-care. Take care of yourself. If you need to push that showing off a couple hours because you're having a bad morning, you know what, then I would rather you do that than show up with a chip on your shoulder or show up super emotional and they get the brunt of that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that
because you can feel that.
You could feel that, like,
for sure.
I feel it a lot. Like, I could feel bad energy. I don't like it, right? And I know
because then it stresses them out too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess we should wrap this up because
we
we've
could
been
just
going
talk
for a long
forever.
time. But thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you kind of get some good info. Leave your shit at the door. Say no. Set boundaries with people.
Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. Yes, we will have another guest on next time, so be looking out for that. But thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, follow, all the good stuff. Woohoo! Bye.